Hello and welcome dear students. Today we start with our history last session for the lesson number 2 from hunting gathering to growing food. So till now we were just discussing that how people started practicing agriculture, how they started towards the settled life. Now actually let's see with some example how the early humans began with their settled lifestyle. So the topic for today is towards a settled life. Archaeologists have found traces of huts or houses at some of the different sites. So for example, they have found out a pit house which was a common feature in Burzahom. This site is in present-day Kashmir, the northern part of our country. Now what are these pit houses? Well, the pit houses were actually dug into the ground, which had also steps leading into them. They may have provided shelter in cold weathers. Archaeologists have also found some cooking hearths both inside and outside the hearths. So, which may suggest that depending upon the weather conditions, these early human beings must have chosen the places to cook. They also used different kinds of pots for cooking food as well as for storing different kinds of grains. And these are the pots that you can see of different sizes and different shapes made out of the earth, that is mud. They also have some kind of patterns which are made on it. So they even tried decorating some earthenwares which were used for storing the grains. Now, one more important tool that we find in this place is the mortar and pestle. Now, what was the use of this particular stone? So the stone which is shown like a bowl shape, and we have a stone maybe which is like a cylindrical shape. So they used this to grind certain grains, make paste of certain spices. I guess we also use these kind of mortar pestles even today. Maybe they are very fine. Yes. Even some Neolithic tools were found during this at this particular site. So those were having fine cutting edges and they were very sharp along with this mortar and pestles. But some places in Burzaham also have the traces of some Paleolithic tools, which were the huge stone boulders. I hope you remember they did not have any fine cutting edges, they were not sharp, and they were even big in sizes. So, this is all about Burzahom that I wanted to tell you from my side. Yes, I was talking about the different stone tools that the early human beings used. So if you can just check the figures over here, we have five different types of stone tools which are shown here. Now, picture A tells us the earliest stone tools which are quite big. They are in irregular shape and they are not having any sharp or fine cutting edges. The example B over here shows you that maybe these are having certain edges or they are different in shape and they must have been made several thousand years later of the picture A. Then you have picture C. Yes, these are again towards the Mesolithic age, maybe towards a very later period of Paleolithic. Then you have picture D. So these were the stone tools which were known as microliths, right? They are very small and having sharp edges, fine cuttings. So these were generally made 10,000 years ago. And finally, we have picture E over there, or the example which shows that those were the stone pebbles, maybe which were used just for hunting or scaring away the animals by throwing those pebbles on them. Then we, yes, now if you compare this, it tells us that These stone tools which you can see belong to the Paleolithic age, and these were the stone tools which were found at the site of Burzahom as well. Now let's study more about stone tool making techniques. As earlier mentioned in few of our videos, that the early human beings were also close to technology. They used to make different kinds of stone tools, and mainly we focus on two of the stone tool making techniques, one of which is known as stone on stone or hand on hand, where a pebble or a core in one hand and is hammered using another stone in the other hand to strike off the flakes. Now here you can see in the picture very well that this particular thing is an core stone. That means this is the stone with which we want to make a tool. And in this hand they have kept the hammer stone. So with the hammer stone, the person used to hit the core stone to strike off flakes, maybe to strike off some parts of the stones to get the desired shape and the desired tool. The next one we have is pressure flaking, which actually says that a core, that is the stone with which we want to make a tool, is placed on a firm surface and it was struck or the flakes were struck off using another hammer stone, maybe tied up with a piece of bone or a wood or a huge stone. In the picture exactly shows you the same. This is the firm surface where I am showing you the yellow color, whereas you have this stone which is held in the hand by the human being is your core stone, and finally with the other this is your hammer stone. Now here you can actually see that this stone is just an irregular shaped stone used to strike off the flakes, but in this picture you can very well see that it is a kind of a wooden stick or a piece of bone which was used to strike off the flakes of certain kinds of stones. So I hope you are clear with what I wanted to tell you about the two tool making techniques. The first one we studied was stone and stone, and second one is pressure flaking. So we actually need to think, yes, these early human beings were well equipped with technology. They had a lot of knowledge of different things, how they could use different kinds of stones for their different purposes, right? Without going to any schools or getting any knowledge from the teachers. Nature itself has taught them so many things. Now, besides seeing all these stone tool making techniques or the way they hunted, they started agriculture and other things, here they also started weaving cloth using the cotton material. They also learned how to grow the cotton plants in days to come. So they learned the weaving technique. And then finally, we have a case study about Mehergar, living and dying in Mehergar. So now, how was the living of people in this place at Mehergar, and where does this place lie? So Mehergar is a site which is located in a fertile plain near the Bolan Pass. Now where is the Bolan Pass? Bolan Pass is in the western Pakistan. We know the name Balochistan, right? So there we find Mehergar, and it is one of the most important routes into Iran, and it is one of the earliest villages where many animal bones were found. So it is an archaeological site with a lot of importance which tells us more about our ancient time period. So now let's see what kind of living was practiced in Mehergar. Now being a fertile plain, yes, maybe a lot of agriculture was practiced over there, and so even we have a lot of animal bones found there. Maybe a lot of grasslands, lot of plants grown, and so a lot of animals were also available. Now, if you see the house construction over there, it's like a square house. We see that it is a box with different compartments. We get dry fruit box, right? So similarly, you can see the construction of houses using mud and maybe some other material to make it durable. And so they have the square shaped houses where they lived in. And now, as we say, dying in Mehergarh, what does that mean? So let's see. Whenever a person died, he or she was buried with goats, which was probably meant to serve as food in the next world. Now, some of the groups of the ancient or the nomadic people, they believed that there is also life after death. And so usually if the particular person who is dead was from a royal family, maybe his jewels, his jewelry, kind of gold and silver utensils or vessels were buried along with that person. And when there was a common person, maybe some of the different grains or whatever he used to eat, those kind of things were buried along with the particular dead person. And so it was believed that even if the person is dead, he will require food when he goes to the other world. So this is one of the burial which was found in Mehergarh. This way, the human body was buried with the goat. And then finally, we think about elsewhere in the world. When we are talking about the Indian subcontinent during the Stone Age period, what was that was going on around the world? So let's look at France over here. Yes, so I guess we have France somewhere over here, and there were different paintings that were found in France. Cave paintings where they have actually depicted what kind of animals were found, and then what was the importance of the caves, or maybe how the people hunted animals. That is shown in the cave painting. So the painting is from a cave in France, maybe which belongs to 20,000 to 10,000 years ago. And it is painted using the natural colors, maybe iron ore, charcoal. Fine, here maybe we can make out from the picture that there was some animal fight also going on, as we have the bullfights and other things. Or maybe this was a common animal that was found in France. Yes, I hope you've got this point. And then finally, we have one more site which was known as Catalhuyuk. It is a Neolithic site and one of the world's largest settlements which was found in Turkey, and it is almost 9,000 years old settlement. Fine. So I hope you all have understood whatever we have discussed today. We discussed mainly about the Neolithic settlements. Firstly, we discussed about Burzahom, which is in present-day Kashmir. Then we discussed about the different stone tool making techniques. Finally, we discussed about Mehergarh. And then I just told you an extra information about Catalhuyuk, which is a place in Turkey and one of the oldest settlements and the largest settlements. So that is all from my side, dear students. Thank you all. Have a nice day, and most important, stay home and stay safe.